You are listening to The Plot with a Twist, a Burning Hellos production. We are your bookish hosts, Ro.
Allorah.
And Shaye.
If you like what you hear, please like, share, subscribe, and give us a review on your podcast app. It helps us become more visible to other bibliomaniacs. We publish bookish episodes each week on Wednesdays, so be sure to stay tuned for discussions and attitudes that are lit.
Imagine, if you will, you're in the middle of a book that is surely to become part of your genetic makeup. The characters are great, the world is immersive, and the plot is plotting. The vibes are everything you could ask for. Then, out of nowhere, bam. There it is, your pet peeve, your unpopular opinion, that word or sentence or trope that just pulls you right out of the book and straight into Icks zone. Now, you don't even know if you can finish the book. It's taken you right out of the story. That's right, you guessed it. Today, we are talking about all those things, big or small, that ruin a book you were thoroughly enjoying.
Yay, we're back.
Yay!
Okay,
Yep.
so we're
The
talking
things that ruin a book.
we're talking about things that ruin books, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Aside
get
from the
fired
fact
up.
that, aside from the fact that I'm in like a massive book slump, so that doesn't count.
yeah, we're not talking about that. That's a whole other podcast.
It should count, but it doesn't.
Okay. Why do those little sayings or tropes or whatever it is, why does that ruin a book for readers, do you think?
I think
Well, it
it's
stops the
because,
flow.
yeah, that's what I was
At
about
the end
to
of the
say.
day, yeah, because at the end of the day, for most of us, particularly if you're reading for enjoyment, you're reading to escape reality. And so you get into a flow. We love books that totally immerse us in whatever's going on, and we can forget about everything around us. And then these ones that we're going to talk about today, it's like it ruins that. It dumps you back in reality before you're ready to be.
Yeah, I said
I,
takes you out of the story.
yeah, I think it's also got a lot to do
Yeah.
with like how your own personal likes and dislikes sometimes. Because there are some things for some people that are just like, Shaye, you and your miscommunication. I can move past that. I can move past the miscommunication. That doesn't bother me so much. But for some people, you're just like, oh, no.
Yeah.
So it's
For
also
sure.
got a lot to do with what your likes and dislikes are. And I think that when you're reading a book and that pops up, or repetition, if you've seen that over and over again in books, you get to that book or that part of the book and you're like, ah, fuck.
Especially when you read
Yeah.
as much as we do. Because I think
Yeah.
collectively we
Yeah.
figured out that last year we read
It was,
what was
over
it like
300.
like 300 to 400 books collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you read that much and you're getting the same story with just different characters,
Yeah, different names.
it gets monotonous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that at
Definitely.
times we have all had the same issues? So that's what I mean by when you hear the same thing over and over
As
again.
in us.
Just anyone, readers in general. Like you
As
can
in
pick
like
up a
us
book.
three.
Us three as well, because we are
I think
fairly similar. But even readers in general, as we
Yeah.
were saying, with when something's repetitive, you pick up the book and you go, "Oh, for fuck me! Like another love triangle? No, I'm done."
Can do. I think particularly if we're talking more of your like pet peeves of when there's certain words that give a lot of people the ick that get used over and over. Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that in that regard, a lot of people are similar. And if they see that word, they're going to be like, oh, no.
I also feel like during different times in the publishing world history, we get oversaturated with a particular type of story, right? And there comes a point where you're like, if I read one more fairy damsel in distress goes to a fairy realm, meets the mate, like I'm gonna just vomit.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing with love triangle was at the time that it started being really prevalent, there was one or two stories that did it great, and so everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is so good." And then suddenly every single YA book was love triangle, and you're like, "Okay, I'm done. Let's move on."
Yeah, give me something different. Give me, or at least if you're going to do a love triangle, make it a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's what it takes, right? It takes an author bringing something different to the table that will get you past that ick or will save that ick, if you will.
Yeah, it depends, really. Like there has not been a lot of books where I've hit my ick and gone, "No, you saved that. Well done."
I'll give you a perfect example. A perfect example of this would be Vampire Academy, because the market was oversaturated with vampires at the time. And when Vampire Academy came out, the way that the vampires were approached and how there was Moroi and Strigoi and Dampiers, and there was this whole like hierarchy, other facet type class division going on and things like that. I think that made that love triangle situation palatable more so than in other books, if that makes sense. Because you had a different spin on something that was already oversaturated.
Yeah, see, I have vampires were everywhere back then. I had no issue with vampires. I still have no issue with vampires. Love them to death. I felt she did well with that one because she almost made you hate Rose instead of hating one of the MMCs. So whether you hated Aiden or whether you hated Dimitri.
You mean Adrian?
Adrian.
Oh my God. Adrian.
And secondly, don't even joke about that.
No, we never hated him. We loved him. But what I'm saying is that in every other love triangle we've read, you don't dislike the FMC. You dislike your team Jacob or your team Edward. You know, you're not team MMC versus team FMC, because towards the end of that series, I was like, you know what, Rose, you can fuck right off.
Yeah.
Someone kill you because you're done.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's why she did that so well.
But again, it was
but how do you feel about it when...
Hold on. But again, that was an author bringing a different spin to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, true.
All right, Shaye, you're up.
How do you feel when some of those icks are actually being used as plot points?
Okay.
I fucking hate it.
I think... I think if it is a trope, the book must revolve around that trope for it to be successful. It cannot just be thrown in there as a device.
But then it's not an ick. We're talking about the things that come in halfway through the book where you're like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there reading a book and you get the whole, her smell changed. And I'm like, she's fucking pregnant.
And like, you both like to tease me for my issues with miscommunication. But again, a lot of the time it comes down to that, where to me, it's feeling like a lazy plot device. It's like this author sat there and made these two characters into a relationship earlier than she really wanted to, or she doesn't know where to take the story now. So I'm just going to randomly throw in their inability to communicate, even if they've been communicating fine for the past 100 pages. I'm just going to suddenly go, oh, here's one little conflict, and they're not going to communicate about it at all, just so I have more plot to go. Do you know what I mean?
What's something else that I'm totally so fucking over in this moment? Third act breakups. Like,
Yeah.
can we just
And
get rid of that, please? Like, why are we doing
And this
that?
is what I mean. Or if you're going to do it, don't do it because you can't think of anything to actually have a plot. Do it because there's a genuine reason. So, like for example, Emily McIntyre, in her contemporary series, she has a lot of third act breakups. I didn't hate a single one of them because the characters break up and then one or both of them, you actually read on page what they're doing to better themselves or to heal from their past trauma or whatever it is that caused the breakup. You actually read them working through it before they get back together. So you're like, okay, that breakup makes total sense to me because now when they go back into the relationship, they're genuinely different people.
Yeah, but also,
See,
you go ahead, Ro.
I don't mind the third act breakup as long as it doesn't even need to be by miscommunication. It doesn't need to be, it can be used as a plot point. But if you look at Hooked by Emily McIntyre, and this is what jogged my memory, they break up because he thinks like that she betrayed him. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's not until he starts finding the evidence. Oh shit, she didn't. He doesn't work on himself. He's a red flag. He's not going to work on himself.
Yeah.
But he goes, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I will deal with that. That's fine. That's absolutely 100% fine. If the person that fucks it up by mishearing or only hearing part of a conversation or whatever, if they come out later on and go, yeah, it was me. Sorry about that. I'll make it up to you. Blah. I can deal with that. I'll deal with the miscommunication. But it's when you just get nothing.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean. When it's literally, it feels like lazy writing because it feels like I can't think of anything else to do with these characters or this plot. I guess I'll just break them up to put in some drama.
Yeah, but see, and that's the thing, right? Because in my mind, why does it have to result in a breakup? People get in arguments and fights all the time. Doesn't mean that they break up. Like, you can have discontent, disagreement, and tension in a story without them breaking up.
You know what? Like genre does that well is Mafia.
Yeah.
Because
he'll be like,
I can agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be like, I'm done, I'm leaving. He's like,
no, you're not
leaving. No, the fuck you're not.
Yeah, you can be angry at me, you can hate me, you can do all of that, but you are not leaving. That's just how it is.
Yeah, agreed. And I've read some others where, one of them they get into an argument and one of them's like thinking, oh my God, it's over. And the other one's like, no, it was just a fight. Adults fight. And then we chat. I think it needs to be used more.
That does need to be used more, actually.
Yeah,
they can take space. They can,
especially in adult books,
breathe
right?
for a bit. But yeah,
like in the YA genre,
yeah,
I can totally see that. They're teenagers without a developed frontal lobe who are impulsive and make stupid decisions. We've all been there. But
also, and way more governed by their emotions.
Yes, but when you're in adult books, it makes more sense for there to be a disagreement, an argument, something that brings tension, where they need to take some space, have their own like thoughts and feelings, call their girlfriend or hang out with a mate or whatever. Then to just be like, oh, fuck it, we're done.
Fuck it, we're done.
Like,
you know what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Someone write that book, right? Someone write that book where they have, I'm happy for the whole argument, right? It's all going to end. And then one of them goes, you know what? I need to take a break. You go read a book.
And
I'm going to go get a drink.
Yeah. Or you go play your video game. I'm going to go read a book.
Oh, you go play your video. Yeah.
And we'll reconvene.
Yeah. We'll talk tomorrow. I don't want to talk to you right now.
I love you, but right now I don't like
Fuck off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that all being said, is there any way for a book to recover after it's been ruined?
I haven't found one. I'm not going to lie. I haven't. Yeah. So I'll go into it when I like have my examples. But when I read a book and that ick hits, I'm like, and I will probably give,
No, that's a separate
if
question.
it's really, what do you mean?
That's a separate question.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll hold off until I get to that question. But I haven't seen one.
I've got one and it's going to really shock you both.
Oh, really? It'll be miscommunication.
Yeah. So, you know how I've read the Magnolia Parks series?
Yeah.
And this is not a spoiler, but that series is known to involve a lot of cheating and a lot of
Between the
miscommunication.
MCs?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, because it's been compared to like the adult version of Gossip Girl is basically what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I read the first one. I wanted to throw hands at the MMC multiple times in that book. I was like, fuck this dickhead right off. And she is so valid in everything that she's doing. And I just wanted to like fucking punch him. And I got to the end of that book and it was hard to get through the first book. And I got to the end of that book and I was like, I don't know how this author is going to make me care about this MMC one bit. Like, he can fucking go drive off a cliff. I will throw the party. Like, I did not think there would be any way for her to redeem him. And then the second book is mostly following two other characters. And basically, so you've got Magnolia Parks and you've got Daisy Hates. If I reread this series, I would actually do it as a tandem read because they overlap in time. So you've got Magnolia Parks 1 and then the first Daisy Hates is basically happening almost at the exact same time, which, yeah, if I reread it, I did the tandem read. Then we get to the second, which is the third book, the second one focusing on Magnolia and BJ. And picking up that book, I was like, I need to read it because I ended up loving Daisy Hates. Absolutely love that girl. So I pick up the third book and I'm like, I have to read it to get to the next like Daisy Hates book. And about halfway through, I was like, God damn it, am I sympathizing with this dickhead? And then I was like, and then I keep going and I'm like, oh fuck, I think I understand where he's coming from. And yeah. And then I ended up loving both storylines, like both stories. And I was like, fuck. I thoroughly enjoyed a book or a series that is absolutely full of miscommunication and cheating multiple times, but I ate that shit up.
That is out of character for you. I don't have a specific example, but for me, sometimes if the character development or the plot is strong enough, it can pull me through it. And it depends how bad the ick is. It also depends how attached I am to the side characters, if the banter is bantering hard enough, like things like that can save it for me. But it just depends on how bad the ick is. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I haven't found one. I get the ick and I go, how are you going to fix this? Because what?
What was that face?
I quite literally, when I get to what pisses me off the most, like my biggest ick, when we get to that, you'll know why I made that face. Because that's what I was thinking about at the time of saying that's what I was thinking about. Because nothing has ever saved that, in my opinion. I've finished several books that have had my biggest ick in it.
Yeah, okay.
They don't get the 1 star because 1 star for me is a DNF. So they get 2. Couldn't stand them. Yeah, 1 star for me is a DNF.
I don't star my DNFs. I don't have very many of them, but
I don't even review DNFs because I feel like if I didn't finish it, I can't review it.
I don't review it, but as in I wouldn't put it on Goodreads or Amazon or anything like that. But if I'm doing it, like if I'm going to do a review for the podcast or something like that, then it's a 1 star.
Yeah, but no, what surprised me was that if you finish a book, it's 2 stars. Because for me, if I finish a book and I want to rage to people about how much I hated that book, that's 1 star.
Okay.
2 stars, for me, 2 stars is like I didn't like it, but I don't feel passionate about how much I didn't like it. I'm going to forget about it in a week.
That's fair. How long do you keep reading once your ick hits?
Depends on the ick.
I actually wish, it depends on the ick, but I actually wish I could DNF more. I'm terrible at DNFing.
I'm not.
What do you mean
I'm
you're
really
terrible at DNFing?
I am terrible at like the amount of times I've read a book and been like, fuck, you should have just DNF'd it.
So why don't you?
Almost, I don't know. I think there's a part of me that like there'll be an itch in my brain that has to know what happened, even if I don't actually
go to the last
and I'll
chapter.
forget about it a week later.
Yeah, read the end.
Read the ending, then.
I can give an actual example on
just...
this. I gave a why choose I didn't like about half the book before I went, no, I can't do this. And it had a really big ick for me.
Yeah, I was like, because I was trying to look back and I was like, I actually don't think I DNF that many books. I keep, like, when we get to specific books and stuff, I'll tell you about one that I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to the end of it. And I was like, why did I get to the end of that book? I should have DNF'd it. But I just don't.
I DNF. So I've got 2 types of DNF. I've got a DNF where I'm just like, done. I'm not picking you up again. But then I've got a DNF for now. I'm DNFing for now.
Yeah.
Because it might not be, it might not be my biggest ick, but I want to know what happens, but currently I'm just not in the mood to read you. You're pissing me off.
Or the pacing's off. That happens a lot when the pacing's off for me. Like I'll be like, okay, this is a slog and I need a break. And so you're going on the shelf with a bookmark until I come back. Yeah.
So I will give, it depends on the ick, right? One of my icks, I will give until the next scene where this ick will take place, and you'll understand when we get to that. I'll give it till that. So whether that be 1 chapter, 5 pages, or fucking whatever, I will give it to that next scene before I call it quits. If it's something else, I'll give it 2 chapters. I'll give it 2 chapters, and then I'm like, nope. I'm out. I'm done.
All right.
Done.
So in saying that, what are some of the things that have ruined a book for you? And we will start with Ro.
Okay. So I'm going to have my big one for last. All right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
For me, it's grammar. Grammar and so if it's got bad grammar.
I'm like,
grammar.
Okay, Australian, American. I swear to God, I thought you said grandma, and I'm like, what? Wait, it's grandma.
That'd be grandma, not grammar.
Yeah,
actually, they sound similar.
Sounds the same, doesn't it?
Anyway, so if the grammar or grammar, is that better? Did you see me push my lips out there? Grammar.
Yeah. Okay, the grammar. Yep.
The editing is off. I'm done. I'm 100% out of there. I'll give it 2 chapters to see if it'll fix, but then I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing because the unfortunate thing is with a lot of the indie authors, they're either self-editing or they're getting people to edit or ARCs are helping them do it or something like that. And unfortunately, if all that shit is missed, I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing because self-editing, when you have read, I do it all the time in like things I'm writing for work. When you have read over the same paragraph so many times, you're reading it how you intended it to come across. Yeah. So you're actually like your brain is skipping straight over mistakes someone else might obviously pick up because you're just rereading it how you intended for it to come out. And then I'll often pass things to my mum and I'll be like, can you just check this for me? And she'll be like, here and here. And then I look
Yeah.
at what she's highlighted and I'm like, God, that's obvious.
Yeah, how the fuck
But I
did you
just
miss
read it.
that? Yeah.
But this should
Yeah.
be said. So this is why alpha and beta readers are so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you are an indie author and you are on a budget and you can't afford big time editors and things like that, you definitely want to do alpha reading and beta reading so that you can get the feedback on what your editor
Yeah.
or self-editing has missed.
So one of my other ones is, and I said it before, and this is a specific sentence. Her smell changed.
Oh yeah.
The second I hear that, I'm like, no. It's not even just the pregnancy trope. Screw that. I can probably deal with that. But that specific sentence, because it's been used so many times, I'm just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
The other thing I have is when you get a useless FMC. So she's been fucking amazing for the whole. You know what? When I was talking to my eldest about this, and I was like, have I ever mentioned any other books that I've not finished or that I've cracked the shits at because of something's ruined it? And she just pointed. Hang on, it's right here. You ready? She just went, that one right there. She's like, that one? And I'm like, yeah, but the story's shit on that as well. So it's got not like I hate the whole entire thing. So I'm talking about something where I'm enjoying the book. There's nothing I like about that series. When I'm enjoying the book, do you know what I did do? Actually? So I pulled out Air of Fire the other day. I sat down with it and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to. So what was I saying?
Useless FMCs.
So they've been amazing. And you're like, I really like this FMC. She's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden she either meets her MMC or something fucking happened. She realizes that her parents were murdered or they're alive or whatever. And then all of a sudden she's as useless as tits on a ball.
That goes the other way too. That can happen the other way.
With Rune.
Stop it.
But
I'm going to cry.
You've been through you probably almost halfway through a book, if not 3/4 of the way through the book. And all of a sudden.
Or a series.
Yeah, there's that. But all of a sudden she's not what she was before. And you're like, wait, did she get a lobotomy?
Yeah.
What the fuck happened?
Yeah. For me, it reads very internalized misogyny that the guy has to be the stronger one. So they make her weaker when they're together because he has to be the protector. He has to be the one that's ultimately saving the day. I loved
Hang on. Wait, stop. I'm going to give you an example.
Hammer time.
I'm going to give you an example of where SJM did that well, and that was with Nesta and Cassian. Because I don't think there's anywhere where
Nesta didn't turn into a bitch.
What do you mean? What?
Nesta didn't turn into...
Nesta stayed strong.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying on that whole internalized misogyny because the man has to be the stronger protector, et cetera, et cetera. I'm pretty sure at any point
I'm not saying all authors do that.
No, I know, but I was trying to give props to SJM
because we've just shat all over her again.
We pick on her a little bit here and there. So I was trying to give her props in that department as far as with Nesta and Cassian because I thought she did that really well. Where that
but I
wasn't
don't feel
the
that
case.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yes. Yeah, because we all love Silver Flame.
And I loved it.
You mean Silver Flame?
I loved
what I said.
You said Sliver Flame.
And when you eventually read, there's a moment in there where, again, she's strong, he's strong, and there's a moment in there where she has to save him from something. And I love that scene because, he just starts laughing, and the people that have held him captive are like, oh, come on, you're already captive. You've been down. What is it? He's like, not me. My wife is coming. And He literally just, it's back and, watch what she can do.
Yeah, that's always nice to see in a book.
Yeah, which you don't get often, right?
No.
That's why I put it in there. It's always the FMC that just turns into a bitch. And I'm like, oh, not again. So the other one I have is disjointed sentences. And now this one will make sense. So it usually happens when you have two authors writing a book. And I swear to God, sometimes it's like they didn't read what the person before them wrote. And then you're like, wait a minute. And I have an example.
Yeah, I was like, give me an example because help me.
So I will briefly explain it because I'm not going to say what it is because it's part of one of the other questions. But put it this way. FMC was at a party, right? All going great guns. She has to leave. She calls her best friend and then come and get me. Okay, cool. He rocks up to get her. All going. Next thing, there's somebody else in the car, and I was like, "What? Where did this person come from?" We don't even get this person's name.
That's weird.
Right? Yeah, wait, it gets better. Then they drop her off, right, at her house. And they're all of a sudden she's having a conversation with this chick and her name's been introduced. And it's about the party that they were at and how they were having so much fun. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this bitch was in the car when she picked her up. How was she at the party? I'm so confused.
Yeah, that is really weird. Okay.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad.
That is weird.
Yeah. I was just like,
I would consider that a plot hole.
I would consider that bad writing.
But in the realm of writing, I would say that's a pretty big plot hole.
They're actually fairly popular authors.
Oh,
yeah. Wait till I tell you who it is.
Maybe bit of column A, bit of column B.
Oh, yeah, it was really bad. And then it put me off reading a book written by two authors again. Because I have since picked up a couple and they were fabulous. But for a while there, I was like, it's written by two authors. I don't know if I want to read that. I can't go through that again. It was so bad. I think I did about 7 chapters before I went. And you two, if I'd have had the physical copy of this book, I'd have fucking thrown it. And you two know how bad I'm like, even if you hate it, don't hurt the book. I'd have thrown this fucking thing. I'd have yeeted it right off my balcony. And this is my biggest ick.
Okay.
We read a lot of adult romance books.
Yeah.
If you can't use the fucking words for body parts, do not write it. If I have to read something along the lines of this, he touched me down there. And then he inserted himself into... Fuck off! No! I'm sorry. If you can't say cock, dick, you better at least give me penis.
So what you're saying is you don't want softcore.
It has its place, right? In like in a new adult or in maybe a YA. But if you are marketing your book to me as an adult book, and people are giving it spice ratings, and you're using words like down there, he inserts himself.
I think that's what it comes down to. If you're going to go open door, there is nothing wrong with keeping it as a closed door romance. You want to do a closed door romance? Go for it. But if you're going to open the door, then fucking use the right words.
And that's just it. The door was open. We were in a scene. They'd undressed. They were in a bedroom. They were naked. But he touched me up my top.
I can't remember. It was ages ago, but I remember skipping spice scenes because I can't remember what book it was, but I skipped spicy scenes because they referred to her down there that he touched her petals. I was like, it's not a fucking flower.
Yes. Or that.
Yeah.
And that's my other ick. Those fucking words they use. His member. No.
It's quivering member. Yeah, but
it reminds me of 10 Things I Hate About You.
That's exactly what I was thinking of, yeah. You can go back to reading about Reginald's quivering member now.
Remember.
Remember.
Yeah. What's another word
Engorged.
for? Engorged.
Yeah. Just millennial humor for y'all.
Yeah, there's our millennial coming through. But it's just like his shaft. No.
Yeah.
No.
That makes me
Like,
think
I
of
get-
actual
Shaft.
shaft.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you get a book, right? And we're reading these books that are adult romance books. And I understand that you don't want to repeat the word cock or dick a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
I get that. But you're going to have to, right? Because we don't. Name me one woman that likes, or anyone, you know what, man or woman, that likes reading his quivering member.
But,
You know,
like all those words, though, I think come down to personal choice, too, because certain people are going to be put off by certain sexual metaphors where others are fine with them. Like, I think that's personal preference, too, though.
Then make it a closed door romance and market it like that. If you're reading a spicy book and your issue is the word cock, dick,
No, that's not what I'm saying.
don't read it.
That's not what I'm saying, though. Like, how do I explain this? In order not to be exceedingly repetitive, you have to use other ways to describe a sexual scene.
Yeah, but think of all those times you've read like her juices. I'm sorry, no.
See that? I don't know. That doesn't really bother me. That's what
But
I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. I think it's personal preference on that one.
That's my biggest ick. If I get flower petals or juices or down there or
With you on the down there and the up top and that's stupid. To me, that's just dumb.
I touched him in his private area. I was like, what, bitch? No. You did not just fucking... I did not read that. You didn't write that. Oh, no, you did. You did write it. Okay. And then we went for round 2 and we used the exact same language and I was like, I'm done. I'm so done. And this is what I was talking about before. If I get to a spicy scene, right, when we were talking about how long do you give, if I get to a spicy scene and there is those stupid words like juices and flower petals and fucking whatever else you want to call them, or it's down there, private area, I will give it until the next scene. And if you continue to do that, I'm out. I'm done. That's it. I will DNF.
I will yeet.
I will yeet. But that's all of mine. They're my they're my ones that take me right out of the book, especially that last one. I'm like, no.
Okay. So I agree with you about grammar because I'm a Virgo and we tend to be meticulously famous for being grammar sticklers.
The only way you can move me with grammar is if the story is fucking phenomenal.
Now, in saying that, if it's an audiobook, dude, if the narrator sounds like he is making a movie trailer for the entirety of the book, no. I don't care how good the book is. I will not be listening to that. Like that audiobook will just nope. I'm going to have to go get the actual physical book because this narrator has ruined this book for me. And even then, I will have to give it like some time before I will go pick up the physical book because I'm so put off by how bad the narration was.
I didn't even think about narration.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's a good point because you all know I hate the fact that if you get a dual style narration, just read it to me. Please don't try and do a female voice or a male voice. Don't do the opposite sex. Because you always end up sounding like this. And I'm like, shut up.
That being said, though, I did just finish Sunrise on the Reaping on audio. And it was single narration. And it was Jimmy from Yellowstone who did it. And I thought he did an excellent job. Loved it.
Yeah, but did he put on voices or did he just read the fucking book?
No, he put on voices. And he
nailed a female voice.
I thought he did it well.
Okay.
Okay, so
Have you got any, Shaye?
Wait a minute,
Or are
I'm
you
not
still?
done.
Oh, you also go. I thought you were done. You were like, so.
No, I'm not done.
Oh.
Love triangles. I can't do love triangles anymore. I have read so many love triangles. If you're bringing me a love triangle, it better be, I don't know. You've got to be completely different to anything I've read for me to
Yeah, I'll
even
agree with that.
remotely be interested. But my biggest one, and this is going to be probably surprising to you guys. So I'm not a huge why choose girly, never have been, right? But why choose with a bully, like when it's why choose bully dark romance? I cannot do it. I can't do it. It's not my
When
thing.
they're bullying one bully or all bullying her?
They're all bullies. I will give you an example.
Yeah, give me an example.
Oh, we're getting into that in a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
And those are mine. So you're up, Shaye.
All right. Look, I'll start with the one that you know me for.
Miscommunication.
I put here, and yeah, but I put here, and I actually put it like in all caps, the unnecessary third act breakup, because it's usually caused by miscommunication.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had that like in literal all caps. And then I have lazy character development or characters that are suddenly doing something out of left field for the plot to try and work. So rather than having, you've built your characters, and so your characters drive the plot, you've built your characters, you suddenly decide you want your plot to go one way, so you force the characters into the plot. Does that make sense? And I see it a lot in fantasy as well, where again, you'll have an FMC who has been with a whole gang doing everything with them. They're going on this adventure together. And then suddenly out of nowhere, because you want her to be stuck in trouble by herself, she sneaks off in the middle of the night to go take care of something. And you're like, but that doesn't make sense for her character. She's been with these people. She's been chatting to them. She's been going on this quest with them from the beginning. Either she needs to be stubborn from the beginning and constantly doing shit without
on her
telling
own. Yeah.
Or you can't have that suddenly become a plot thing later on. Yeah, that's one thing that really pisses me off is like I said, to me it's either it's lazy character development because you suddenly want your character to do something that you haven't developed as a part of their characterization, or it's you trying to force characters you have developed into a plot that doesn't match.
Yeah.
Fire.
And it just pisses me off.
Wings and ruin, Feyre. I was like, bitch, why are you going off on your fucking own? Why are you lying to Moore? You're all in this together. We're all in this together. Anyway, and she just fucks off by herself. I'm like, you deserve to get done for that.
See, and you know what?
And that's what I mean.
Oh, I was just going to say, but if that were Nesta, that would make sense. Yeah?
Yes. Because it was in her characterization. And that's what I mean. If you want that to happen in your book, fine. Build it into your book from the fucking beginning when you are introducing us to these characters. Make her stubborn. Make her ignore people right from day one. Don't make her be part of the gang and they're all like doing everything together until suddenly you want her to get kidnapped by the other side or caught up in some sort of issue. So suddenly she goes off and does something by herself and you're like, the fuck? Why would she suddenly do that? So yeah, that pisses me off. Then I also had, this can go both ways. So lazy world building, but then also world build dumping. If I have to read 2 chapters of you just telling me purely about this world before I have actually met any characters, I'm asleep. I'm not continuing. That's probably where I would actually DNF, because if I'm going to have to try and remember all of this detailed world building that went on for multiple chapters, you've lost me. Because then you start getting into the actual story and the traveling, and suddenly I'm like, wait, I know you've already told me this, but where the fuck is that? And I'm constantly having to go back to your chunk of world building to try and actually remember it. Tell me what I need to know when I need to know it. Don't try and dump it all in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, similar to you, but because it made me actually think of another book, but narration when they can't successfully do the opposite sex,
Yeah.
that pulls me out of it as well. And I'll get into specific when we go to books, but what I discovered beyond that, because I'd gotten through this first book and I hadn't liked the book mostly, I think, because of the narration. I just could not connect with the characters. And then I went to try the second book, and the second book was in dual POV. So I was like, oh, maybe this won't be as bad because at least there'll be two narrators. So while he'll sound stupid in her chapters, maybe his voice will help me with it, because I can sometimes get past it in dual narration if she's stuffing up his voice, but at least I'm getting multiple chapters of a male narrator instead. I can sometimes get past it. But then book 2 with dual POV was still completely narrated by the one person. I was like, nah, I'm out. I'm done. Fuck that. I was like, I'm not getting his internal thoughts in your stupid voice as well. No, thank you.
See, I thought of another one, which is on the back of your why choose, which is what brought it to mind, was bully romance. If you get an MMC who, as soon as his shaft enters her flower, as soon as he fucks her, he loves her. I love her.
Yeah. No, that's
Are you joking me? You've bullied this bitch for half a book, and now all of a sudden you're in love with her just because you got your dick wet? No. Unless her pussy's magical, that shit should happen.
All right, Shaye, you're up.
All right. So now let's get into some specifics. What book or books have been completely ruined for you, where you have either DNF'd or won't continue on with the series?
I'll go first because I have the shorter list, and then you can continue.
I added another one while we were talking.
Okay. So as far as narration goes, Behind the Net by, I cannot remember the name of the author. I think her name's Stacy something.
Stephanie Archer?
Stephanie Archer, yes. Behind the Net.
Yeah.
The audiobook for
wow.
that, couldn't do it. Because the whole narration sounds like this, and he went over there, and she came over here, and it was blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening in this book? So I was like, no.
That's surprising because it gets such great reviews. Not the audio.
The book or the audio?
Specifically.
Yeah.
The book, like I'm saying, like the book, you look on Book Talk, that book gets great reviews.
Yeah. And so if you go on Audible to the Audible reviews, there are quite a few reviews on there that basically said the story was great, but the narration was not great.
Yeah.
So that made me feel better.
Physically read that one.
That made me feel better because I thought it was just a me problem, but I was like, okay, it's not a me problem. Okay. The Name of the Wind. I will never read that book again or attempt to finish that series because, I gave it 300 pages and there was no action to be found within the characters. Like, it's just an old dude telling a story. I don't know. And then, okay, the Why Choose Bully romance specifically that I'm talking
which one you're
about.
going to say.
The Pucking Coach's Daughter. So I love S Mastery. I think Hockey Gods series is legendary. I loved every book of that series. But when I picked up The Pucking Coach's Daughter, I knew it was Why Choose and I knew it was a bully romance, but it came off extremely misogynistic in that it seemed like she wasn't really choosing due to the bully element. Like it was almost like they were passing her around and torturing.
Was that done in
her?
Was that done in duet style?
It was done in There were several narrators on that.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So it was
because
like
I
a full
think-
cast.
I think
or
so.
just- okay.
I think
Yeah.
it was full cast. But
Um.
don't get me wrong, I love S Mastery, but I don't think that Why Choose goes well with bully romance. Like, that would be very hard to pull off to make it.
Okay. I have a couple that.
Hold on.
Okay.
But it's very hard to make it like female empowered when all of the MMCs are bullying her to the point where, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're
Um,
saying. I have a few that I want you to try though.
But Why Choose in particular, like I said, I'm not really a Why Choose girly, but if it's done really well, I don't have a problem with it. And the Ravenhood series is a perfect example of what I thought was well done. Why Choose? Because she absolutely
Is that a why choose though?
Yeah.
Okay. When you say why choose though, because I am assuming she only ends up. I haven't read it. Don't spoil it. I've got it. Did you guys see that? I purchased it. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought she only ends up with one dude. Then it's not why choose.
But
if she fucks all of them, then good on her. But why choose is she literally doesn't have to choose. She ends up with all of them.
it's hard to explain.
So
You have to read it.
yeah,
like I can't.
I'm not going to go into specifics because you do need to actually read it. But I agree with what you're saying. I think for me, why choose means that all partners are there for the happily ever after.
Yeah.
Whereas
Mhm.
I view the other ones as simply like polyamory.
Yeah. Or just
It was in there, but it's not what I consider to be why choose. Yeah. That's
I don't know. You guys need to give me recommendations because
I've got two in mind for you, right? Now, one
they better be fucking good because
Okay. Hear me out. So have you read Den of Vipers, Shaye?
no.
Okay. I have read Den of Vipers. Now, did I like the ending? Fuck no, it pissed me. No. One thing pissed me right off in that fucking book. At the end, one thing pissed me off. But the why choose aspect of that was really good. And it's bully. I still quite enjoyed it. All right.
you're not
Then there,
selling me. You're not selling me.
trust me. It probably could have been 5 chapters less, but
Still not selling me.
I know. But the why choose aspect of it, right? Up until about anyway, if you read it, up until a certain spot, I was like, you know what? I'm giving this 4 stars. This is actually really good. I'm enjoying the way she's written the characters. I'm enjoying the character development. It's actually really well done. It was just the last little bit that I was like, oh, fuck off. But you know what? A lot of people can move past that. They don't really care. I reckon you should try Den of Vipers. I also think, and now that's it, The Bonds That Tie by Jay Bree. She's an Aussie author. Also bully. And this is a whole series. Why choose? This one is fantasy. Really good. Really good.
And you think that feminine empowerment comes through that?
Yes. So I liked both female characters in this.
Okay.
I can't remember her name in Den of Vipers, but she's based. All right,
No,
a lot of people.
Don't explain anymore.
I'm not going to explain anymore. I liked her because she went, you know what? First one, I liked her because she was like, you know what? I don't like any of you, but I find you really attractive, so I'm going to fuck you anyway. And I was like, nice. Yeah, I'll accept that. Good job. In Jay Breeze and The Bonds That Tie, they're angry at her for a reason, and she's like, fuck you, I'm not telling you the reason. You either accept me as I am or fuck off.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, cool.
And
I'm
the
good with
problem that I had in The Pucking Coach's Daughter is the FMC is very wishy-washy. And
Nah.
so she's, oh, I don't know. Like, he's cute, but I don't know if I'm really into him. But and then she's bullied. And yeah, like, it's basically like running the train.
All right. So in both these instances, they're 100% into them. In the first one, she's just, I don't give a shit what you say. You don't fucking own me. I'll screw you, but you don't own me. Dicks to you.
Oh yeah,
And
that's not. Yeah, no. These dudes totally were like, "I own you," and she was just like,
oh, they're
"Okay."
no. See, yeah, they're like, I own you, and she's, do you though? And they're like, yeah, we do. You can't leave. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Too fucking bad. And she's like, fine. You own me. If that makes you feel fucking better, I'll let you have that. And I was like, nice.
Okay.
And when she sleeps with them,
oh, okay.
all right, I'm up. I was gonna say, when she sleeps with them, she acknowledges the fact that she's doing it because she wants to. And same with the second one. She's hiding something from them. She's hiding it to protect everybody. And even though they are fucking horrible, and two of them are horrible to her badly, I don't give a shit what you say or what you think. So whatever. Anyway, I'm up. So I actually finished some of these because I was just like, oh, maybe it'll get better. It didn't. So I have, the first one is Die For Me by Lauren Jackson.
This is the one. Yeah. Isn't this the one where you were like, if I read one more, touched me down there?
No, that's not this one. This one was like, I'm fucking reading Twilight, but a newer version. So the plot was just, I was like, what is going on? I don't understand. And what took me out was the second our FMC hooked up with the MMC, useless.
Became a simp.
Yep. She's going to save her sister. She knows that, like, everyone knows that they don't know that vampires and shit are real, but there's an inkling, right? So she goes to this town that her sister was last seen in. She wants to save her sister. She goes there with her best friend on her own, no fucking money, no nothing. They make their way there. She enrolls in school and she's going to find out how her sister disappeared. And then all of a sudden she hooks up with the dude and she's useless. I was like, no, thank you. I'm more interested to read the second book in this series, which is about the two villains in the first series. I haven't read it yet because, as I said, I finished this one and just went, I just can't do it. Yeah. My next one is Bride by Ali Hazelwood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened there? Her smell changed?
Bingo! It was going great guns, right? Up until she turned into a simp and her smell changed.
Ugh. Hate that.
It's the whole they're mates.
That one didn't grip me at all.
Ali Hazelwood.
Yeah, Bride just didn't grip me at all.
It was not good.
Yeah, it was very just meh.
Mediocre.
And then he knows that they're mates, but she doesn't know that they're mates. And I'm just like, oh, for fuck's, not this again. I can handle mates. I love reading about mates. I don't like it when one of them's like, where knows that they're mates and the other one doesn't, and they try and keep it from each other. Fuck right off. This is the one I was talking about. This was the one, Allorah. The Last Dragon King by Leah Stone. I finished it.
That was the one you were talking about. Yeah, because I remember the day that I came in and you were like just fucking going off.
I was fuming.
She was pissed.
It started off quite well. Our FMC starts off, this had several of my icks. Our FMC started off really good, badass, fucking hunting in the woods and all this kind of shit, right? She then goes to the castle because he's the last dragon king and he gets to pick a bride, right? Yeah. He touched me there. No. What? This chick wants to be, if she doesn't get chosen to be his bride and she doesn't really want to get chosen to be his bride, she wants to be in the army. That's her goal is to be a soldier. I'm sorry, bitch. You want to be a soldier, but he touched you there? I touched his hardness. No. No.
Look, I think it's interesting to note because she is an author that is still pumping out a lot of YA and adult books. Like she's in both. So maybe that has, I don't know, something to do with it.
I bought the first and second books in this series because I liked the covers and they had a little bit of art in them. I have not read the second and I don't want to. I don't want to. I won't. I can't do it. My next one, and this is the book I was talking about earlier, where I was like, what in the actual fuckballs is going on here? Did you guys just write sentence for sentence? Because what the fuck? And it is Fate of a Royal by Megan Brandy and Amo Jones.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I DNF'd.
Wow.
So this was one of the second or third Perth Bookish Baddies book club reads. I wasn't the only one. I think almost 3/4 of us went, can't do it. In the chat, it went something like this. Those of you who have finished it, can you let us know what happened?
Yeah.
One lady got in the chat and was like, is it just me or does anyone not know what's happening? And I'm like, oh my God, no, I don't know. Where are they? 1 minute they were at a party. Then she was in a car with some random chick. Where did the chick come from? She's like, that's what I thought. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And apparently it didn't get any better.
Oh, wow.
Apparently it was like that for the whole entire book. I guessed the plot massively. Like I ticked off everything. And she's, yeah, that's what happened. And I just went, I DNF'd. I couldn't do it. It was like, I don't know whether I don't even know if they got an arc, like anyone to read it before it was published, because I was just like.
Yeah, I think they did offer arcs.
I was just like, I don't know what's going on here. 1 minute she's in a car, the next minute, 1 minute she's at a party, next she's in a car, next she's talking to her best friend, next she's at her place of work. You know, and I'm just like, what? How did we get there? Because and I went back and reread on purpose, reread pages thinking that maybe I skim read a bit or maybe I fucked up. No. And it put me off reading authors that have collaborated. I was like, I don't want to do that again. And then the last one I have, which is interesting because I really loved the first one, is The Naughty List by Jade West.
Yeah.
And I've DNF'd that for now. I don't know if I'll go back to it. I'm not ruling it out. But I loved the first one because the FMC was just so independent. Look, the books are just pure fucking smut. Just smut. That is the plot. But she was so independent. She was, you know what? Fuck the patriarchy. I'm going to become an entertainer. And I'm going to experiment with my sexuality because I want to. Not for anybody else, but for me. And I'm going to gain financial independence through that. And fuck what people think of me. I like sex and I'm going to go and have as much as I can and experience as much as I can. And I was like, you know what? I know a lot of people give this book shit. But to me, I was like, that's amazing. That's so good.
Yeah.
And then I got to the second one where she's interested in one of the other entertainers. And I just went, what the fuck? Why is she now a whiny little bitch?
Oh.
I didn't even get to the main plot point, which is that her ex finds out what she's doing and apparently it all goes fucking bad because I just couldn't. She wants to be in a relationship with this other entertainer and they're both happy to be in a relationship, but all of a sudden she's like thinking about what it will mean to go and do a job with some guy and then come home to him and what will he think of her and what will she think of him when he has to do the same thing. And I'm like, wait, you weren't like this before. You are both entertainers. So the both of you know what your job descriptions are, right? You both know that you are going to go out and have sexual relations with people that aren't in your relationship. Why are you now all stressed about that? The person that's going to understand you the most is the guy you're fucking interested in.
Yep.
All right, Shaye, what are yours?
All right. So I struggled to think of ones because, like I said, I can't remember many that I've actually DNF'd. but I was trying to think of a series I don't want to continue or authors I don't want to continue. This is going to be really bad. I am currently very much on the fence with Ali Hazelwood.
I can agree with that.
I'm like, so I read Love Hypothesis when it very first came out, and I remember thoroughly enjoying that. I can't remember why I enjoyed it right now. I can't remember much about it, but I do, like, I looked back, I gave it 4 stars. I clearly enjoyed it. And then I just didn't read anything else from her as her releases came out. I picked up a few as they came out, and they just sat on my shelf, and I didn't read them. Then I read Bride, was the next book I read by her. That was meh. And then I was like, I need to actually go back and read her contemporary because I liked Love Hypothesis. So maybe it's just I don't mesh with her paranormal romance. And I read Love on the Brain. This is where I should...
Yeah, you didn't like that.
I should have DNF'd it. I should have DNF'd it because it was pissing me the fuck off. This was, you know how I feel about miscommunication. Love on the Brain is miscommunication on steroids. It's like,
how did you not yeet that book then?
Oh my God. And this is what I'm saying. I genuinely struggle to DNF because so this book is one of the kind of classic of it's sold as rivals to lovers or enemies to lovers kind of thing. And it's about this situation that one's misunderstood from their youth and now they're 10 years later. So it's that sort of thing where something's happened when they were in college. Now it's 10 years later and they're working together and she's on the full belief that he hates her from an encounter that happened back in college. That's not where it lost me because that's something that happens in a lot of romance books.
Yeah, but that's miscommunication from the start.
It is. But I can still sometimes get past that. Where this one lost me was the amount of times this man genuinely tried to explain shit to her and she cut him off mid-sentence to continue on with her understanding and belief of their past. If I was him, this couple wouldn't have got together. If I was him, I would have walked the fuck away and been like, I give up. She literally won't even let me say a single sentence to her without cutting me off and being like, oh, but it's okay. Not everyone has to like each other. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay that you hate me. And he's still I'm imagining the reason that this book wasn't dual POV is because every one of his chapters would have been like, what the fuck is she smoking? Why won't she let me finish a sentence?
Chapters are only like 3 sentences long because he can't get anything out.
Or his chapters are his internal monologue going, could I be more obvious? I don't feel like I could be more obvious. Everyone else in the fucking office gets it, but this dumb bitch. Yeah. Should have DNF'd that one. I did give it a rage review because I finished it, so I'm allowed to rage review it. And now I am...
I haven't even rage reviewed on fucking Throne of Shit.
You should. It's fun. It's cathartic. It's cathartic. And then, yeah. And so now I'm like, I've got a couple of other Ali Hazelwood books on my shelf. Do I give it another shot? I'm so put off from that one that I'm now like, I don't know if I want to trust again.
It makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to hear my rage
review?
Name me a more stupid and annoying FMC. I'll wait.
I can name one. I haven't even read
This was more than just miscommunication. This is more than just miscommunication, which I already don't like. This is miscommunication on steroids. It was an FMC who blatantly refuses to let anyone actually communicate with her. Every time the MMC tried to set her straight on her skewed perception of their past, she would literally interrupt him to repeat for the 1000th time how it was okay that you hate me. We're meant to be nemesis. And I'm quite sure that if the roles were reversed and the MMC was the one to literally cut the other person off mid-sentence repetitively, everyone would be having their picture box out, calling him an arsehole and saying this book is shit. And if that wasn't enough of a deterrent, predictably, the main antagonist was the one character our frustrating FMC felt the need to point out was such a nice guy every other interaction she had with him. Okay, rant over. Basically, should have listened to my gut at 20% in and DNF'd.
So what was that last part?
Oh, the main antagonist is the one character that she feels the need to constantly point out every interaction with him, how he's such a nice guy. And I'm like, so he's the one screwing you all over. Because why else are you pointing out that he is a nice guy all the fucking time? Yeah.
So that's a bit like fucking Icebreaker with her stupid fucking partner, where she was like, "Oh, he's so good," and I'm like, "No, he's not. He's a wanker."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
You did rage review on that one, didn't you?
So that has now put me completely on the fence with whether or not I should continue Ali Hazelwood's books. I might need convincing. And then the other one I thought of when we were talking
I can't help
before.
You
there. Yeah. When we were talking before, the other one that I've thought of was Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. So this is it gets actually a lot of love. And this is where I don't know if I need to go back and physically read it, because I feel like for the most part, this is where I can say the narration ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Because the first book is only told in one POV. So the first book is narrated by one person, which I understood going into it because I knew it was only one POV. But this female narrator made our MMC sound like the whiniest little bitch.
What's the name of the book again?
A Fate of Wrath and Flame.
Okay, yeah.
I genuinely, like, the female narrator was so bad at a male voice that I couldn't picture him as an actual man. He, like I couldn't, in my head, I could not picture him as an actual guy because she was doing so terribly at trying to put on a guy's voice. And then, so I slugged through the first audiobook. I think I gave it about 2 stars. And then I was going to try the second one because the second book is in dual POV. So I was like, okay, maybe the second audiobook would be better. And then I pulled up the second audiobook and it had one narrator and I was like, yeah, nah, fuck that. I ain't doing it. So I DNF'd it, like the series. I DNF'd the series because I was like, I'm not doing that to myself. If there's still just this one female narrator, even when there's whole ass chapters in his POV, nah, no. But I don't know if maybe at some point I actually sat down and read the physical books, if I would have the same reaction. I don't know.
So when you mentioned her name, I was like, I know that author. What have I read from that author? So she has the Wolf Hotel series. I don't know if either of you have.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
Okay, so it went off for a while there on TikTok and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a no for me. I haven't finished the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what it was about this whole series, but Wolf is the guy that owns the hotel chain. She ends up working for him. She leaves home. She wants to get some independence, blah, blah, blah. They end up getting it on. There's some miscommunication, right? They end up back together though. But in the second book, she's moved on and she's getting with a couple of guys from the hotel where she works, like other workers. And then all of a sudden he rocks back up because he fucks off because he's angry at her. He rocks back up and she's just simp mode activated. Okay.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I'm just like, no. Yeah, it was. And then they end up, he's got a bad relationship with his family, blah, 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 blah. He acts like he's upset. And everyone was like, oh, he's so possessive, obsessive. And I'm like, really? Because that's not what I got. He leaves. She ends up dating, like screwing 2 guys almost. And when he rocks back up, there's no she's mine kind of thing. And then, I don't know. It didn't work for me. I didn't like the MMC, didn't like the FMC, didn't like the storyline. And I gave it, like, I did 3 books.
Oh, wow.
Before I went, I didn't finish the last one. And I went, I'm fucking done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
And this is the thing, because I'm like, what gave me the ick was obviously the narration. But I'm looking back on it now, and I listened to this book like 3 years ago, maybe. And I'm thinking, okay, the narration's what gave me the ick. But is there also a reason that I didn't bother going and picking up the physical books instead to give it another go? Because I feel like I can't remember a lot of the plot or anything, but I feel if the plot had have actually grabbed me, I would have put in that effort.
Yeah.
There's a lot of miscommunication in that. As I said, I've only read her Wolf Hotel series. I haven't finished it, but that's the series that I read. And there's a lot of miscommunication in that, like a lot. And it's not doing it for me. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Like why everyone
that's all I had. Anyways, that's all I had on my list. That's all I could think of.
All right. It's that time again. Our cocktail today is all about that one word, ruin. It is called the Blue Ruin Whiskey Sour because we all get blue when a book is ruined. It is brought to you by the website Edible Del Marva, and here's what you'll need. 2 ounces of district-made rye whiskey, 3/4 of an ounce limoncello, 1/2 an ounce lemon juice, 1 egg white. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. Dry, shake, and then add ice and shake vigorously for 10 seconds. Strain into a coupe glass and garnish with Angostura bitters. Egg white. I don't know if that.
Yeah, it sounds really nice. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Have you never had a whiskey sour before?
Not with egg white.
Yeah, whiskey sours always have egg white. They should.
Maybe over here.
Oh,
I've never seen one. I've never seen one made with an egg white. So
really?
Yeah. So that's different.
Any whiskey sour I've ever had has always had egg white.
And also,
it's what gives it that foam on the top.
Also, I'd like to stick in here that if you are in Perth and you are going to Wild Out West, we will be in attendance interviewing authors and attendees and handing out goodies. So be sure to come find us. We will be very noticeable in our awesome wow t-shirts / hoodies that we made for the event that are also like the designs themselves minus our names will go up for sale on our website very soon.
Yes, I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Huge thank you to all the bibliomaniacs out there listening. Please stop by our Instagram page, The Plot with a Twist, and check out the link tree in our bio, where you can find links to us across the internet, including all our social media, website, shop, and Facebook group. Give us a like or a follow so that you can stay up to date with episode releases and product launches from our book merch shop. We appreciate your support from the bottom of our hearts. Every little bit counts. Tune in next week for another all-new Bookish episode full of magic, mayhem, and maybe just a little bit of smart. Until then, keep reading.